I like Andrew Berry as a GM. Some people do. I like him. I think he's been good with the trades. I think he had a really good draft. I think he's tapping into his inner Howie Roseman. Not as good as Howie, but I think he's tapping into this inner Howie Roseman with last year's draft. So I think there's a reason why Jimmy Haslam has kept him. But right now he's in a Rooney Rule NFL timing pickle. This is why I wish we still had Hard Knocks because this next few days for Andrew Berry is going to be pivotal for the Browns and for him. So I think there's 3 coaches that he likes. The top 2 is Grant Udinski, the young McVay, the offensive coordinator for the Jags. I think he really likes Nate Scheelhaase, who actually is working with Sean McVay with the Rams as the passing game coordinator. And there's Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott, the former coach of the Buffalo Bills. I think Andrew likes him too. But at the same time, the only problem I see with McDermott is he runs his own defense. And one of the things that Andrew wants, he wants to pair a coach by keeping Jim Schwartz. And Jim Schwartz and McDermott has 2 different philosophies when it comes to defense. And you don't want these 2 guys butting heads. But I will say, if McDermott comes in here and he's just the CEO and handles the job of the coach and get offensive coordinator like Joe Brady, if Joe Brady doesn't get the Bills job, and allow Schwartz to run the defense, I think that actually works. But I don't think McDermott wants that. I think he wants to run the defense and be the head coach, which is fine. So that's why Udinski and Scheelhaase are the top 2 candidates. Here's the problem. For the Rooney Rule, you got to have 2 in-person interviews. The one in-person interview he had was with Mike McDaniel, who's now the OC of the Chargers. The second one is supposed to be Nate Scheelhaase. But Nate Scheelhaase, he's had a virtual interview, but not an in-person interview, which is crazy. I feel like in the 21st century, if you're doing a virtual interview, that should count. Just because you're not in the building, an interview is an interview. The problem is with Andrew Berry just didn't want to bring in a minority candidate just to bring in a minority candidate to fill a quota. That's what a lot of these GMs and these teams do. Like, for instance, Anthony Lynn, the former head coach of the Chargers, who's married to Stacey Bell, former anchor in Cleveland, beautiful gal. The Bills is going to bring him in to interview for the head coaching job for the Bills. The problem is, I don't think Anthony Lynn has a shot at that job because they're going to bring in Udinski too. So they're going to bring in Udinski for that interview. But I really do think with Josh Allen on a Super Bowl caliber team, I don't know if they're going to hire a 30-year-old rookie head coach. I think they're going to go with either Joe Brady, who's the offensive coordinator there, who's already knows Josh and Josh knows the system, or they go Brian Daboll. John Daboll was Josh Allen's coordinator before. He's from Western New York. He's been a head coach before, even though I'm not a big fan of his as a head coach. But I understand if the Bills hire him as a head coach. So I think they either go with Daboll or Brady, and Anthony Lynn is just filling a Rooney Rule, and I think that's horrible. Andrew Berry, that's not how he operates. Like, he just feels like if I'm going to bring a minority candidate in, they really have a shot. The problem with Scheelhaase is he's with the Rams, and the Rams are in the championship game. And the NFL has this rule, this crazy rule, that if you're an assistant coach, you can't go into in-person interviews until after the championship game, which is crazy. You should be able, the Tuesday after your divisional playoff game, if you win, the assistants should be allowed to fly out Monday night, interview on Tuesday, and then fly back to their teams Tuesday night. Because they're all going to be on private jets anyway. So I don't understand why the NFL's like, no, you can't interview. They got to change that rule. So here's the thing. And even though Andrew Berry interviewed Mike McDaniels in person and Nate Scheelhaase virtually, the Nate Scheelhaase interview doesn't count because it's not in person. And he can't talk to Nate in person until Monday after the game. Now you got Udinski over here. Udinski is going to interview with the Bills. I don't think he's going to get that job. He'll interview with the Browns on Friday. Andrew runs the risk. If he still feels like, I like Udinski, but I really want to talk to Scheelhaase, Udinski might either take another job, which I don't think he will, because I don't think he's going to Buffalo. He might take another job Or I might stay with the Jags. Or I might say, you know what? I'm not gonna be anybody's bridesmaid. You want that dude? Fine. I'm going back to Jacksonville. So Udinski was like, kick rocks. I'm out of here. So then you go to Scheelhaase, but we don't know. Like, there's different teams. Like the Raiders like Scheelhaase. Pittsburgh might like Scheelhaase. I don't know. Like, other teams might like Scheelhaase. And there's no guarantee that Andrew waits for Scheelhaase that he might take the Cleveland job. He might take something else, or might stay with McVay with the Rams. Then you miss out on both candidates. But let's say that he likes Udinski. It's like, you know what? I really like Scheelhaase, but I'm going with Udinski. If you go with Udinski, you can't hire him on Friday because you haven't filled in your in-person Rooney Rule. So then Andrew has to go against his own principles and just interview a minority candidate just to fill a quota. And Andrew being a black GM and knowing what black coaches go through, just being a token interview, that's something that he doesn't want to do. And I'm sure he'll feel sick about it because it's like, man, I'm just bringing you in just to fill this slot. I'm sorry. Like, it's just the rules. I got to do it. And that's the pickle that Andrew's in. Like, if you want Udinski, and Scheelhaase might say, well, okay, well, they're going with Udinski. I'm not even going to fly into Cleveland. Andrew got to find a minority candidate to interview. And because he doesn't want to be like these other GMs who just bring dudes in where they have no chance to coaching. It's so complicated. It's so complicated. So, man, that's why I wish, man, one of my favorite shows is 24. So I wish there was a Hard Knocks version of 24 with Andrew Berry from Friday to the next Monday, trying to figure out how am I going to do this if I like Udinski and Scheelhaase doesn't come through. I got to find a minority candidate, which is not fair to that guy. If I bring in Udinski, but still wait for Scheelhaase, Udinski might decide to stay. There's no guarantee if Scheelhaase takes this Cleveland job, he might go someplace else or stay with the Rams. Now I'm with McDermott. But then if I have McDermott, he might not want to bring on Jim Schwartz. Oh, it's so complicated. And what if McDermott says, like, you know what, I'm gonna take some time off. Then Jim Schwartz is your coach. For a lot of fans and media, they want Jim Schwartz, but at the same time, go look at his Detroit Lions record. It was horrible. He definitely was not Dan Campbell. Jim Schwartz was a horrible head coach. A lot of fire, but not a winning coach. The local media doesn't talk about that. So in the worst case scenario, Jim Schwartz might actually become coach of the Browns. Something that Andrew Berry doesn't want. Because I think he wants a guy who's in that McVay tree. I think he wants that guy who understands the new NFL. I don't know if Jim Schwartz really adapts to the new NFL, the modern NFL. He might be okay he might be okay, but not great. So, man, if I'm Andrew Berry, man, it's stress. He better have that Pepto-Bismol Tums. It's a tricky thing, and this is all partly because of the Rooney Rule. It's partly because of the Rooney Rule, but it's also because of NFL timing. Because the NFL would have just said, insistent, you can go fly in Monday night to interview for these jobs, but be back by Tuesday night. Then everything is cool. But the NFL got this stupid rule that you can't interview at all until almost a week later. That's just crazy.